Okay, here's our second video on ratios, and we're going to go over tape diagrams and double number lines. So let's remember ratios. They compare two quantities, two things. So let's say, again, we'll do an example. Let's say we had dots, right, and we had dashes. And I asked you, what is the ratio of dashes to dots? So remember in the last video, whatever I say first, we have to use first in the numbers. So I said, what is the ratio of dashes? There are 4 dashes, so we have to use dashes first. And dots, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots, so the ratio is 4 to 5. And remember, we can also say 4 to 5, or we can make it look like a fraction. But they're not fractions, because remember, ratios are part to part. We're comparing two parts of things. One good way of doing it is through recipes. So let's say we had a duck soup recipe. So, as you can see, we're using parts. 5 parts water, 2 parts duck, 6 parts pastina. Right? Pastina is that small little Italian pasta. So, what is the ratio of duck to pastina? What is the ratio of duck to pastina? See if you can answer this question. Now again, we don't care what the parts are. They could be cups, they can be quarts. The ducks could be in pieces cut up in pounds. We don't know. We're not concerned about that. We're just concerned that it says parts. So, what is the ratio of duck to pastina? Well, we said duck first, right? And there's 2 parts duck, so the ratio is 2. And pastina is 6. It's 2 to 6. Right? And with ratios, we can put them in lowest terms, just like fractions. So we can say, like a fraction 2 to 6, we can also say it's 1 to 3. 2 to 6 and 1 to 3 are equal. They're equal ratios. So the ratio is 2 to 6, or you can say it's 1 to 3. Remember, we can also use a colon. We can say 2 to 6, or we can say 1 to 3. Equal ratios. Okay. So now, in this video, we're going to talk about tape diagrams and modeling. So when we model things, we just make pictures. That's what we're doing. So I'm going to show you a tape diagram with this question. It says the ratio of lions to tigers at the zoo is 8 to 2. Now with tape diagrams, we're going to always put them in lowest terms. So the ratio is 8 to 2. We can write it like this. But we should put it in lowest terms first. What do you think 8 to 2 would be in lowest terms? Okay. Well, that would equal 4 to 1. So the ratio of lions to tigers is 4 to 1. It's also 8 to 2, but this is in lowest terms. So now that we know that that's in lowest terms, we can make our tape diagram. Again, with tape diagram, we're just modeling. We're making pictures. So tape diagrams are just boxes. So we're going to put the lions first. We're going to make 4 boxes on top. And that represents the lions. And 1 box would represent the tiger. So there's our tape diagram. That's all it is. So this right here, this tape diagram, represents the ratio of 4 to 1. Now one thing we can do is if we want to find the next ratio, well the next ratio is 8 to 2. Just make 4 more boxes and add 1 there. And we'll go over that in another video. So let's see if you can make a tape diagram yourself. Let's say the ratio of cows to pig at the farm, okay, let's just say it's 10 to 6. 10 to 6. See if you can make a tape diagram of cows to pigs at the farm. See if you can do that. Pause the tape. And remember, the first thing we should do is put it in lowest terms. So in lowest terms, that's 5 to 3. 5 to 3. Okay? So now let's make the tape diagram. We'll bring it down here. There are 5 cows, so we're going to make the boxes. That's our tape diagram. And they should all be even, but we're just doing a rough draft here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's the cows, and the pigs represent that. So that's our model of our tape diagram of 5 to 3. Remember, we started out saying they were 10 to 6, but we put it in lowest terms. So keep that in mind. Put it in lowest terms. Okay, now we're going to talk about double number lines. And they're exactly that. They're double number lines. They look like this. With double number lines. I'm going to have numbers on each of them. So with double number line, if we use the last example of cows to pigs, well, we had 5 and then we had 3. That was our double number line. We're just making ratios with double number line. So if we keep adding 5 to the cows and we keep adding 3 to the pigs, we'll get our double number line. What should be the next series? We have 5, we have 10, we can use 15. What about here? So again, these are the cows, and we'll use a C for cow and P for pig. That'll be a 9. See if you can put a few more numbers on this double number line. Pause the tape. Well, again, we know the cows are going up by 5 each time. So we could put a 20 there, we could put a 25 there. We'll do one more, we'll put a 30. Right? And these are the ratios. Every time there's 5 more cows, there's 3 more pigs. So we'll have 12 here, we'll have 15 here, and 18 there. That's our double number line. Okay, let me give you a question that we can make a tape diagram on. Our question. Let's say that we're at a ball game, and the ratio, we'll put the ratio of, let's say, hats to bats, say the ratio of hats to bats was 14 to 4. Say 14 to 4. How would you make a tape diagram of that? What's the first thing you should do? You should first put it in lowest terms. Right? So 14 to 4 in lowest terms would be 7 to 2. So we have to make 7 boxes. And that represents the hats. And the bats would be 2. Okay, now how would you make a double number line with this? Try that. Okay, so we know that we have a double number lines where there's just 2 lines, and we're going to start with the lowest ratio first. It's 7 to 2. And then we had 14 to 4. And as you can see, the hats and the bats, make that a B, the hats go up by 7 each time. We have 21, we have 28, and the bats go up by 2 each time. So that's our double number line. See if you can put in another number here. What other 2 numbers should go here? Okay, well, this should be 35, and what should the bottom number be? 10. So these are all the ratios of the hats to bats. And you saw these numbers. You saw 3 to 1. And let's say I put a 4 here. And then I put an X up here, because I don't know what that number should be. What do you think that X number should be for this double number line, for these ratios? Well, the bottom line is going up by 1 each time. We can see the pattern. And the pattern for the top, it's going up by what? It's going up by 3. So X should be 12.